Hello, everyone. We are a go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is, oh my God, I can't believe it. It is what? Whew, the days are going by. It is midweek for us and everything. And today we are going to, several things I want to talk to you guys about. But today is Tisha So Long, talking about the Felecia. And so I have the Felecia here, and we're going to talk about that in details, all the different options. I had a wonderful meeting, not nice, a wonderful meeting with our dear A's. And it was nice to get their suggestions like, Tisha, I would love to see this and this and see it in this and in this and this and this. So they gave me tons of ideas. So we'll talk about that, all those different options. But before we start, I want to say welcome. My name is Tisha, co-owner of So Creative Lounge, and we are the culture keepers of sewing and quilting with the mission to teach the world to sew one stitch at a time. And I want to welcome you to So Creative Lounge. If this is your first time, hi, I'm so glad you're here because this news is just for you. We are gearing up for a new program called Intro to Sewing. And this is literally for anyone thinking about sewing. If you have a sewing machine, or if you just got one for Mother's Day, or it's the summertime and this is your time to find that thing that you want to do over the summer, or even if you have a niece or nephew, or even your children, or you can be grandpa who wants to learn how to sew, this is for you. Again, it's called Intro to Sewing. Now, what this program is about and how it is an 8-week course. It's not all in one time. We break it down in easy chunks for you to manage, okay? Now, over this 8-week course, you are going to learn how to, that's right, pull that machine out of the box. You're going to learn the different parts of the sewing machine, all those strange parts that you like, I'm not sure about. Let us help you walk through that process, okay? So not only will you learn how to know how the anatomy and the different parts, but we'll walk you through how to operate your machines because, for example, computerized machines compared to manual machines can be a little different. So it depends on what you have, okay? So we'll talk about all those things that you'll need. You'll also talk about fabric, thread, some basic supplies, and I got some basic things here. But in this 8-week course, leave the trouble of trying to learn how to sew to us. And all you do is have to sit back and just follow us through this 8-week course. In this 8-week course, you'll finish off with a beautiful pillow. Oh, I have it here. I have my samples here, right on time. You will make this cute little envelope pillow, and you can switch it out. So you can pull out the pillow foam, make 2 or 3 of them. If you're one of those people who love to change with the seasons, this is perfect for you. You can make as many pillows as you like because once you learn it, you can go forth. Okay? So you'll learn how to make a really simple envelope pillow. You'll also learn how to make, I'm digging for my little projects here, a reversible tote bag, which I think is so cute. And of course, it has pockets on it. And if you wanted to, you can actually turn this inside out, flip it, and have a different color scheme, but it is a reversible tote bag. So you'll go from a pillow to a tote bag. And your last project is a cute little pair of pajama bottoms. And so here I have my pajama bottoms here. And I got a little fancy with one of the legs because some of our students that come, they pick up on this really fast. You can even take your hem of your pajama bottoms and put elastic in it. So there's one with elastic and one without. So you can just see your different options and everything. Now, we are having a seminar July 10th. I believe that's on a Wednesday, July 10th, where you'll come in and I will walk you through a simple, friendly beginning project. And that's this cute little crossbody to get you started. From there, you'll go into your 8-week course. This is really, really cute. It goes across you, or you can just wear it over one shoulder, and it has a pocket in the inside. So again, this is our intro to sewing. And let's see if the links work. Want to try it? Drum roll. All right, so if you put in the chat, beginner. That's the word. I'm like this, like, yep, that's the word. Put it in the chat. So in the chat box, put in beginner and you will get that link. Now, while you're retrieving that link, there's some other things that I highly recommend. Now, if this is for your niece or this is for grandpa or grandma, then check out these things. This is a great way to kind of encourage them with some other tools that I highly recommend. One of them I'm always rocking, and that's my wristlet. This wristlet is great for traveling with your pens. So there are times when I am working. I love this thing. Sometimes I'll have two of them at the same time. But yes, and so I feel like a Wonder Woman when I'm wearing this thing. So this wristlet is really, really cool. It's magnetized, and I highly recommend it. Another tool that I really like, and we use these here at the lounge all the time, and actually, I have my sewing machine. One is literally sitting on my sewing machine. We have command hooks that we have on the sides of our machine, and these are what we call our snippers, and I love these things. These are great for quickly cutting your threads. Also, we find that sometimes beginners struggle with just sewing, keeping things straight. And so we have a sewing gauge here, okay? So this sewing gauge is really, really nice. It's magnetized and it looks small. It looks like it's not doing anything, but actually it's pretty strong. It's stronger than you think when you look at it. But it is magnetized, and it actually stays in place when you're sewing because most throat plates on sewing machines are metal. So this is really handy as well. This is a great tool that you'll be using, and this is a safety pin here. And these safety pins are what we call quilter's brass pins. Now, the thing about these pins is that I love using pins when we're putting in casing, and today you'll see me do that because Tisha's going to sew today. I love these pins. A lot of times when we ask people to get large pins, they end up with those really beautiful brooch pins. That's too big. Those are for decorating. But this is more useful and will go inside any of your seams. So this is pretty handy. Another tool that I recommend is this bob and saver. Now, the reason why I like these bob and savers, I use these at home because at home I have a lot of threads, different varieties of threads, different colors. Here at the Sew Creative Lounge, we only stick with so many colors, so I don't have to worry about this. But when you start building a library of collection of bobbins in different colors, guess what? A bobbin saver is going to be your best friend. And one that when you drop it on the floor or it gets flipped upside down, you don't lose your bobbins. This actually hugs the bobbins inside, preventing them from falling out. And it controls the thread as well. Because sometimes bobbin cases, even though it's in a case, the threads tend to ravel. I love this thing. So this is what I use at home. I probably have about 20 of them. Yeah, 10 in one room and 10 in, I got machines in different rooms. But this is my friend. The other thing, and we use this here at Sew Creative Lounge, this bowl. This is how I store all my pens. I love this because guess what? Even when it falls to the floor, pens always fall to the floor. It's a quick way for me to pick them up, a great way for me to quickly retrieve them when I need them. And so we have these basically at every sewing or serging station here at the lounge. Even at home, I have them on pretty much all of my sewing desks. And so this is a magnet pen holder. So I really, really love this thing, okay? Now, it doesn't look like it's doing much of anything, but this magnet is huge on the back, which gives it why it can hold so many pens at one time. So I really like this thing. And my last one is my hem clips. I really like my hem clips. And why you like, will I really need this for this project? Yeah, because one thing is garment sewers, we always need to find ways to turn up our hems, right? A hem on our sleeves or the hem of our pants, like your pajama bottoms. These are going to make it really easy because on these clips, they have markings and there's like these little lines. And I think they're in 1/4 inch increments. So it's a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, so forth and so forth. and it goes all the way up to 3 inches. Okay, most of us don't use that large of a hem, but this is really, really neat for that. Why do I like this instead of just pinning and just pinning in place? I find that when beginners begin to sew, they don't really have a good understanding of what 1/4 inch may look like or 1/2 inch, because that takes time, that takes experience just to spot that on an eye. So for them, they have to measure it out with their sewing gauge and then put their clip in place so they can move along that hemline. So this tends to be really helpful for beginners. Now you get about 12 clips in here, so that's more than enough, okay? And my last tool, favorite tool, and we have this at the lounge and I have this at home as well, is a see-through ruler. Okay, every time I see this ruler, I keep saying, Tisha, you need to do it. Like, I need it every once a month. I needed to pick a tool and just talk about it. This is one of those tools that have so many options and so many great tools about it. But for beginners, this is a really cool tool. It's not heavy. You can travel with it. You can see through it, so you can see if you're working on something, you need to make some changes or some markings. This is a great tool. Not only do I use this in my garment sewing, but I also use it for my quilts as well. So it's a really cool tool to use. Okay. Now, that's all of my beginner tools. How are we doing out there? How's your day? Let me know how you're going. How's everything going? I don't have any, I can't see anyone, but so Martez is going to just let me know how you guys are doing out there. Doing pretty cool out there? She gives me thumbs up. Wonderful. Well, thank you. So that's our intro to sewing. So again, if you put in the word beginners, it took you right to that link so you can register. Okay. So I hope to see you on July 10th. Okay. To kick off the intro to sewing. And we are going to have fun that day. Without a doubt, we're going to have fun. Now, currently, we're in the midst of our Serger Summit. Okay. Our Serger Summit. And this is a 12-week course. Now, although this class have already started, guess what? It's still not too late. You can still join now. And to do that, if you would like, you can just go over to the chat and put in Serger. Just put in the word Serger. Now, once you put in the word Serger, you'll get a link like you did for Intro to Sewing. And this will provide you the link to register for our summit. Okay. Now, we're in, I think, week 5 at this point. So we're having a good time with this class. I've started to get some feedback. So if you're here, I want to say thank you so much for your feedback. I am so happy that everyone is having such a good time in this class, that you build confidence in learning to work with that serger, not letting it intimidate you. So I'm so proud of you guys. You're doing such a wonderful job. Continue providing me with the feedback, especially in our Facebook group, to let us know. So for those, if you've been sitting and waiting, this serger class is amazing. I can't tell you enough. Our members in the chat will let you know how much they're having fun with it. Now, with that being said, I have 2 books here. I talked about these 2 books a couple of weeks ago and everything, so I did want to share them with you because these are books that I really, really like. Sorry about that. I'm a girl who loves books and I love gadgets. I read a lot of books. Now, there's 2 books that are really, really great. This one is called Surgery Essentials, okay? And this is pretty, pretty cool. Now, what I like about this book is all the beautiful color pages. They give you lots and lots of examples. They're not drawn. They're not illustrated. These are real hands, real fabric that you can see, which is really, really nice. So again, this is called Surgery Essentials, which is really, really cool. Another thing that I like about it is look at the picture. The pictures in the serger is really, really detailed. I mean, you can't miss a thing. They're like heads on. So this is really, really cool. This is definitely a companion to mastering your serger. Now, there's another one that's on the market as well that I thought was really, really nice. Most of the books that I had mentioned about a month ago to when before we started this program, a lot of them were outdated because I've had my books for years. So we were able to find these other two books that were just as great as the ones that I recommended. So this one's called A Field Guide to Surgery 101, and this is a cool one as well. Again, it has beautiful illustrations just in this one page, just like 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at all those pages just by flipping through that. And I love that. Again, real hands, real fabric, no drawings, really easy read. And what I love about this one is that they got great projects in here. Really, really beginner projects. You can do this, okay? You can definitely do this. Um, what else I like about this one? Oh, and the samples are looking at your different surgeon stitches. They got some great ones in here as well. So again, if you're still thinking about, oh my God, I got that surgery in the basement, it's still in a box, or I know my mom had her surgery, it's still in a box, she's still scared about it, sign her up for this. She may enjoy it. Or sign him up. Sign your dad up for it, okay? This class is for anyone who wants to master their surgery. So again, for Intro to Sewing, that is beginner. Just the key word is beginner. You can put that in the chat. And if you're interested in our Surgery Summit, it is never too late to join. Just put in the chat Surgery and you'll be provided with that link as well. Okay? Now, before we start, Martinez, do we have any questions?
No questions, just comments.
Just comments? Okay, okay. Anything I need to comment back on?
I see that, well, Trudy said that she's almost finished with her Felecia top. She made the long shorts to pair with the shirt.
Ooh, we're going to talk about that.
Khadijah said, I'm waiting to make my Felecia until I can figure out how to close the top part of the arm.
I'm going to talk about that. Wonderful. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead right into the Felecia then. Okay, where's my little notes? Here they are. So when I met with the Dear Race, this had to be about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And some of them had already started their Felecia or may have finished their Felecia. And I want to say congratulations to my Dear Race. You all are doing an amazing job. And I was so proud of them. I think we had so many responses from the Felecia because it was we really tried to make this as easy as possible. But with that, we had so many people to complete it, which is beautiful. In that, we still had people who wanted well, I'm going to change it up a bit, okay? And so here are some of the suggestions. There's about 4 or 5 of them that I got from the Dear Race group. I was like, oh my God, that's really great options. I'm going to talk about them during the live and share them with you. And I'm going to make one all at the same time. We're going to try anyway. So I'm going to try to get through this as much as possible. I doubt if I finish it all because there's so many options I want to just share with you that if I don't finish it, then I'll give me about the end of the week. And that way, and I'll post my picture of me in my new Felecia. I can't tell you what it is yet, but we'll talk about it, okay? All right, so some of the options that the Dear Race mentioned to me was, Tisha, make it into a dress. So this is literally a top. I'm going to grab my sample here. And as you can see, I'm wearing one. Now, this one, I changed it up a little differently. Now, you've seen this one in the promotional pictures on the flyer on our Facebook page. So you've seen this one quite a bit. Now, this one has that nice angle point in the center, and it has elastic at the top, and it has elastic at the bottom. So it hugs the upper arm really nice, not too tight, but just hugs it. Gives it a nice poofy sleeve, right? And so those were some of the options. You had an option A and an option B. Now, the one that I'm wearing today is a little different. Can you tell? Oh, I still have my handbag on. So this one, if we look at the sleeves, it's different. I only have elastic at the top and no elastic at the bottom. So it looks more like a bell sleeve. So it's just open at the bottom. Okay. And I kind of like that because it's nice and cool. And the difference between my hemline instead of that point is just a straight hemline. So there's nothing really fancy about this one other than the sleeves and a simple hemline at the bottom. So the fact that just to turn this into a dress is easy, 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 easy. So in front of me, I have my Felicia, and I'm going to talk about how I made mine into a dress. And if you're going to make it into a dress, you'll need more than your 2 yard piece. Now, if you are a member and you are a Kente, you got the fabric, right? So you'll need to have more fabric, okay, if you want to change up your options. Or just save that fabric that you got in your kit for it, use it for something else, and pull out something else that you want to use for your dress, okay? Now, if you use it for something for your dress, I want you to pay attention to the pattern that you use, okay? So a lot of times we'll forget if it's directional, okay? Or if I have a fabric that has very obvious horizontal or vertical lines, pay attention to that. So this is my print here, which is really beautiful. But I did pay attention to make sure that I had enough fabric for this print, making sure that everything is laying down in that horizontal position. Now I could have changed it and made it go in vertical, but I did want it horizontal because I'm a really tall girl. I can use it extra in a flattering way, but I don't need any more height, okay? So I opt to go horizontal. So just pay attention to your motifs in your African print fabric and make your choices then. But you'll need more fabric, okay? So one of the things I did was I added some length. So here's my front piece, okay? And here's the opening here. But as you can see, literally, I didn't cut my bottom off at all. I left it on here and literally pinned everything in place. And I went all the way down to the selvage, okay? Because I wanted as much length as possible. I'd rather have more length and then cut it than not have enough. And it still gives me the option of what kind of hemline do I want? Do I want a simple, just round hem? Do I want a high-low hem? Do I want to angle it off hem? Do I want to point hem? You see where I'm going with the hem? So save that for later and go ahead and give yourself that full length as much as possible. Now for me, that was roughly, I'm going to measure this out so it gives you a ballpark figure of how much I added on to here. And this is roughly, at that point, it's about 14 and a half inches, an additional 14 and a half inches. So for me, again, I'm a tall girl. This will probably be right at my knee or possibly above my knee, okay? Now for the average person that's not 5'10", you may not need all of this length, okay? And that might be great. But for me, I'm a tall girl, so I'll need it. Now, I not only did that for my front piece, okay, but I also did that for my back piece. Okay, so this is my back piece, and again, just as though if it was a top, I didn't cut it off at the hem. I used that to my advantage all the way down for that hemline, okay, all the way down. Now, another thing that I did is kind of grade it out because I didn't want my hemline to just kind of fall off here. I want to give myself more room, especially if it's going to go past my knees, just for room for walking. So I want you to think about anytime you're making anything that's knee length, once you get past your knee length, you want to think about it needs to be a little bit wider for you to walk because you're going to, the gait of your walk is going to take up space, okay? So be mindful of that. Any questions on the dress? Any questions on lengthening? Okay, I think
no questions about it.
Okay, very good. All right, so another thing, I want to just cross these off. So one was the dress. The second one's okay, so Tisha, I'm having this beautiful dress. Now, of course, I need pockets, right? Yes, I need pockets. So what did I decide to do for pockets? Here's my pockets here. I just took an old pattern. An old pattern. I think this is from the Jamila. Is it Jamila? No, the Jamila has patch pockets, but that gives you two options. You can have patch pockets, which are just square pockets that are placed onto the dress, and you can put those wherever you want. So if you want to have pockets on the outside of the dress, just use one of your old patterns that have a patch pocket, and I believe the Jamila has that. This came from, I think it was the Coretta jacket. So any pattern that you have, which is perfect, an inseam pocket, you want to go ahead and cut you out your pockets. Now, anytime we have inseam pockets, and inseam pockets are pockets along the ins along sits in the inside of the garment that sits along the side seam of your dress, your jacket, or whatever it may be. This is a really easy project, a really easy pocket to put in, but you want to make sure that again, not only do you have enough for your hem if you're making a dress, but to make sure you have enough to cut four. This is one that you need to cut four of because you have two, front and back, and you'll have another two pockets that you need for the other side, front and back as well. So you'll need to make sure you have enough fabric to cut for four, okay? Now I want to talk about your pocket because a lot of times I get this question a lot. Tisha, I want to put pockets in, but I'm not sure as far as down the side of my seam where to put my pockets. Roughly, if you stand up and just put your hands where you naturally, I'm gonna just stand up, where you naturally put your pocket, where you put your hands at for your jeans per se. This is pretty much comfortable for us. Now, for me, that measurement is from my underarm to that point is 9 inches. However, for the average person, like I said earlier, I'm a tall girl. 9 inches might be too long for you. So in the pattern world, that sweet spot for majority of us is between 8 to 9 inches. Okay. So what does that look like? Well, I know that on my front piece, here's my front. This is my center front. This is my side. Literally right there underneath your arm. You want to measure down with your measuring tape, like so, and measure down 8 to 9 inches. You'll know, just depending on, and just play with it. Put a t-shirt on and play with it. Pin it in place and then measure it down. Find that sweet spot. Put a pin in it and then measure it. Usually we end up between 8 and 9 inches. Okay. Once you have that number for yourself, just keep that in mind. Put it on the board. Hey, if I want to add pockets to anything, I need to make sure it's 8 inches or 9 inches from underneath my arm. Okay. Easy to put in pockets. Really easy. Any questions on pockets? Putting in your pockets or where to find pockets? No? Oh, you all are doing good. All right, so we got our pockets. Now, the other thing was with Tisha, the sleeves. I want to change out the sleeves. The sleeves was a big thing. So some of us did not want the cold shoulder sleeve. Some of us wanted a longer sleeve. Some of us didn't want no sleeves. There was so much about sleeves, 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 sleeves. Well, again, I recommend if you didn't like the sleeve that you have here and you wanted an entire sleeve, just pick another pattern piece. Like your, I'm trying to think of another pattern. Jamila, something recent. Remember your Jamila jumper? Take that sleeve. It's a short sleeve and it has a little cuff on it. You've already learned that technique of making how to make that little band, which I think is a cute sleeve. So you can literally take that sleeve and put it onto this top. However, there's some people who said, Tisha, I want to take that sleeve and make it longer. Here's my sleeve. They like the cold shoulder, but it came up. It stopped too short along their arm. And I know some of us are a little bit concerned about our biceps, okay? So if you want to lengthen that sleeve, All you need to do is take your pattern and just add it at the bottom. You can add 2, 3 inches. It's really up to you. You can go all the way down if you wanted to. You just wanted a complete straight sleeve, and then you can put elastic at the bottom, or you could cuff it. It's really up to you. But the option as far as extending your sleeve, how long you want it, it's really up to you. But you can lengthen that and use that same sleeve if you want it, but still keeping that cold shoulder look. Okay, so that was 2 options. And then the third option was sleeveless. Tisha, I don't want any sleeves. I just want almost like a tank top. I get it. So what you would do is, you'll notice that on your pattern, on your Felecia, there was a little, I wouldn't even say a notch. There's a little point where it sits inside like an indicator. You can avoid just cutting into your fabric. So what I did here, instead of cutting into the fabric, and that part is literally for just hemming the top portion of the sleeve cap here. You don't need that anymore, okay? So if you notice, a lot of the things that I'm talking about require you to think about what it is that you want before you cut into your fabric. Because once you cut into your fabric, it's not like you can go back and say, oh, I wish I had made this into a dress, because you cut into it, right? You cut the hem. Oh man, I wish I had changed my sleeve. I wish I had lengthened it, okay? Or I wish I had used another sleeve. So you want to think about this before you cut into your fabric. And I think I heard a lot of people talk about it. Oh, but I want to do this and I want to do that. I'm glad you're thinking about that ahead before you cut into your fabric. So good suggestions. I love it. And that just tells me that you all are thinking about, hey, how I want to approach this. And that's basically what sewing is about. How to take something and make it your own. So we talked about those 3 different options of a sleeve. And what was the other one? Oh, someone mentioned this earlier. I love this keyhole opening. I kind of like it. But some people do not want that. They want a straight, a clean neckline, and you can do that. So let's talk about that. So in my front piece, which I have here, you'll notice that it has have you cutting out that little curved edge here. Guess what? You don't have to do that. Instead, you can completely cut this out and leave that part here. Okay? You don't have to have that. But Tisha, what that's going to do to my facing? Same thing to my facing. Let's look at it. So here's my facing piece. And if I folded this in half, you'll see that little curve there. You see that curve? Just take you another piece, cover it up, or don't cut it out at all. Remember when you cut out your pattern piece, you had to cut into here. Don't cut it at all. Just keep that nice curve. That way you can keep that clean neckline. So you don't have to have that keyhole. You can eliminate this part if you like. So it's really up to you. Okay. I think I've covered it all. Any questions before I start sewing? No? All right. All right. So the first thing I want to start sewing up is my pocket. Okay. So I have my pockets here. Okay. And I want to match them up. Now for this dress, I do want to have the sleeve. I was going to make it sleeveless, but I didn't want to cut into it until I talked about that option and showing you don't cut into that notched area. Just completely go straight up, okay? All the way up. But I am going to put a sleeve in here because I do like the sleeve. I like the cold shoulder look. So I want to just cut this off before I remove my pattern. All right, so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to remove this as well. Set that aside. Now, I've already marked where my pockets are going to go, okay? I have a marking right here. And again, I've already measured 9 inches down already. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pockets in place. Right side to right side. And once I pin this, I'm going to hold it up for you guys, okay? And then we'll take it over to the sewing machine. All right, right to right. And all I'm doing is matching up those nice little notches. There we go. That's one. And two. All right. All right, so Tisha, let's see what that looks like. Now, this is the funny part. I'm hoping that you can see that pocket. But here's my pocket right there. Again, it's right side to right side, okay? And it's just pinned in place. And I did that for the other side as well. Now, this is my front. So, of course, when I did this, I put mine on the fold of the fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the fold. But guess what? This is the front of my, I don't have to cut the seams. I put this on a fold intentionally. So yes. All right, so let's go ahead and sew up our pockets. Now I have two cameras today. We have a head shot and we have another shot on the sewing machine. So I'm gonna jump right over to the sewing machine and I'll be toggling between these two cameras, okay? So let's jump over to the sewing machine and sew in our pockets. All right, so here I'm at the sewing machine and let's see. Ooh, yes, I can see. And here's my pocket just flapping away here. And so I am going to go ahead and get this underneath the machine. Now, the seam allowance for this top is 1/2 inch. Now, when I sew in my side pockets, I do use 1/4 inch because I want the inseams of the seam to sit inward, not outward. All right, so that's one. Now, a lot of times I don't reinforce those ends, but you can, okay? I just want to save some time today. And let's do the other side. And if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask any questions. Okay, so we have pockets in place. Look at there. Oh my God, that pocket just happened to line up really. Look at that pocket, happened to line up really nicely. That brown is really perfect. You can't even see that there's a seam there. All right, let's meet back over at the front. All right, so here's the front of my dress. Again, I kept that neckline because I do love that keyhole neckline. I have my pockets flapping. They're looking like little wings there, okay? So let's do the same thing for the back piece, okay? And we're gonna do two things at one time. I'm gonna put my pockets on the back, and then once I finish doing that, we're gonna talk about the facing, okay? And let's unpin this one. And again, now this is my back piece. I just sewn my pockets to the front, but this is my back piece. And let me double check that sleeve. Yep, let's go ahead and cut that little part out. And everything looks good. I can continue to remove my pins. And let's place our pockets onto this piece as well because I've already marked it. Again, right side to right side. And let's take that last set of pockets and put them together. Again, matching up those notches. And here we go. I think I lost that one. There we go. So right side to right side. I'll put a pin in that one, and let's do the same thing for the other side. Here we go. Okay. And again, this is my back piece, the back. And all I did was pin the pocket, the last set of pockets, to the right side of the back. Okay. We're going to take that to the sewing machine, but guess what? We can do two things at one time, right? Yes. All right. So we'll sew this one up next. But before we move on to the sewing machine, let's talk about the facing. Okay. Now you have two facing pieces. You have the front facing. Okay. And then you have the back facing that goes to the back. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, you don't have to cut into this. You can just leave that. Don't even cut into it and just keep that same curve. Okay. And if you find that this neckline is too high for you, you want to drop it about half an inch. Okay. Half an inch, mark it. And if you're not sure about it, don't cut it off. All you could do is just snip into it. So if I had a half an inch, let me just show you this. I'm going to use my chalk. Half an inch. I'll show you that. Oh, that was too close. Is that better? I think that's better. Yes. And not as bright. Let me use this highlighter, okay? I think I just used a piece of chalk. Let's use a highlighter and see if that helps. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. So all I did was drop that front. I didn't mess with the side, okay? I'm not messing with the side here. Just the front, which is here. If you find that you want to drop it about half an inch or an inch. Instead of cutting off that line on your pattern, what you can do is just cut into the pattern piece and fold it down. Okay, so all I did was snip into it, into that curve, turn it back down, and that way I can reposition and say, does that feel good? I like that. But you can go as low as you want or keep the height that's already there. But it's really up to you. All right, so I love the keyhole, so I did keep that part of it. And I went ahead and put them together. You'll put these together right sides facing right side, so literally right side. So I'm placing the printed sides towards each other, so it's right side to right side. Along that short edge, sew it, press those seams open, okay? Once you press those seams open, take care of that raw edge. In your instructions, it talks about zigzagging or serging. So I've already done that. So here I have my facing already cut out. It's already sewn together. The fronts and backs are sewn together, and they've been serged on the outer edge. The only part that needs to be connected is the inside part of the neckline to the dress. So this is ready to go as is. So we're just going to set that aside when we're ready for it. Okay. Now I also have my sleeve pieces. Okay. Remember I said I want my sleeves. I want to keep that. I want to keep my sleeves. And I'm going to tell you another thing that I do. Whenever I have the opportunity and I want a straight hem along my hemline, which is here, I always try to let the fabric work for me, less work for me. And what do I mean by that? Well, when I'm looking at my sleeve, I'm trying to find a big piece here, a smaller piece. So here's a great example of that, okay? And I'm just folding this down. I try to use the salvage as my advantage. It's one less thing I have to take care of. It's one less thing I have to serge or zigzag. So I intentionally put my hemline, and especially if I want to lengthen it, along the salvage so I don't have to cut it off. That finished edge is going to work for me, so it's one less thing I have to turn up or clean. So I'm really strategic about when it comes to my hems where I'm placing that at. And for my sleeve, I did that. So you'll notice on my sleeves, that salvage is there. And a lot of times people are like, oh my God, you kept that in there? You didn't cut it off? No. Because guess what? You'll never see it, right? You'll never see it. So what I did, I took one of my sleeves and I already turned the bottom hem and stitched it in place. And look at that. So you can still, now this is the inside. You can still see the salvage, but that's the inside. But I didn't have to worry about zigzagging or serging that raw edge. I just turned it up and it's part of the hem of the sleeve. One less thing I have to do. Now, because I do want to keep that cold shoulder look, I want the elastic at the top, okay? I'll probably keep the bell sleeves at the bottom. But with that being said, I do have to take care of that raw edge at the top of that sleeve. So I went ahead and serged mine, okay? I went ahead and serged it, okay? Now, another thing is if you're putting in your elastic, measure the elastic to you. So I have some 1/4 inch elastic that I'm using for my sleeve, okay? 1/4 inch elastic. I highly recommend measuring it to your upper arm. If you have someone that you can ask to measure you, then really what you want to do is ask them to say, hey, can you measure this from one point to the other point and see what that is? And for me, that is roughly about 8 inches. I'm going to take away an inch of that, cut it down an inch because remember, elastic is meant to be snug, not loose. Okay, so it's meant to hug the body. So cut off about an inch and see if you're comfortable with that. Okay. All right.
Tisha, I'm sorry, we have a question.
Oh, wonderful.
Somebody said, can I use a stretchy fabric and use facing?
Stretchy fabric. So like a knit, you can try it. The thing of it is, if you do, you want to make sure that you're using interfacing. So you can definitely try it with a knit top. I don't think you're going to have a big of a problem because it's already a loose fit garment. As long as you're not thinking that it's going to hug the body, but it's going to be a very loose fit as you can see. Okay, but yeah, try with the knit and everything. Okay, now if you're going to interface, I didn't put any interfacing. Shh, don't tell anyone. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of interfacing. When I'm making things for me, I am very sometimes interfacing, sometimes not. Interfacing is great because it stabilizes, it keeps the shape of the piece, especially for something like this. But I'm a girl that likes a lot of loose fit, very soft, feminine pieces. I don't mind things being hugging to my body, but I'm okay with that. So you have to find that sweet spot for you. Now, as you can see for my facing, I didn't put any interfacing because I think the facing is enough for me just to stabilize this area. And I'm okay with that. But if you're using interfacing, a lightweight interfacing is going to be your friend. Now, for the person who's planning on using this for knit, you want to use an interfacing for knit fabrics like a tricot, okay? Now you'll find if you're using a knit, you may not, the knit may not hold its shape, especially in this keyhole, okay? Cotton is stiff enough, even without the interfacing, to hold this shape because it's not a lot going on here. But for knits, knits tends to be floppy, and you'll notice that this will flop down a lot, okay? That's just the way knits are. That's why I say if you do it, you probably want to put some tricot, which is a light inner knit interfacing for knits. Okay. But yeah, try it. Try it. Okay. All right. So I talked about my sleeve. I talked about measuring for your elastic. Again, if you're measuring for the top, do the same. Measure for the bottom, do the same thing as well. Don't think that these are the same. Now, when I put in my elastic at the top, I believe I used 6 inches. That's all I needed. Okay. Now, at the bottom, when I did this top here, I think I did 10 inches. Okay. Because I wanted really snug. I think I tried 12 and it was too loose. It was just like flipping and flopping. I'm like, it's not doing anything. So I went back and trimmed it down again. So find that comfortable spot for you. Okay. Find that comfortable spot for you. Okay. Any other questions? No? All right. Well, I thought I would be able to get to continue the sewing, but I could, Lord, I just ran my mouth so much during this time. But that's because I had so many great optionals and suggestions from the dearies. I want to say thank you guys because you were my ears, and so that was really, really helpful. Just to take a pattern and to see how you can hack it, okay, and make it your own. I hope you all had a wonderful time. Like I said, I may not be able to finish everything, but the most important thing I wanted to share with you is just breaking those points for you and explaining how you should go about implementing and executing that for whatever your needs may be, for changing your sleeve, making it into a dress, changing that neckline. I want you to go for it. Now, whatever you do, promise me one thing because I love to see all the different options. I love it when people are very creative and they're like, Tisha, this is what I did. Tisha, this is what I did. I love to see that. So don't forget to post it, okay? I want to see what you're doing. With that being said, I want to say thank you guys. And again, don't forget Intro to Sewing, okay? For anyone who's out of the box sewing machine and wants to learn how to sew. And again, mastering that serger, definitely check out that class as well. It is never too late to join. With that being said, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys later in the week. Have a good one. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.